Today I'm going to do a review on Luxy hair extensions. I've owned my Luxy hair extensions for 7 months, so I kind of feel like now that I've owned them for such a long time, I kind of feel like I have a good idea of what's good about them and then a couple things that maybe aren't quite as good. I want to first start by saying Luxy hair extensions are very affordable compared to some of the other extensions I researched. For $130, I was able to purchase 120 grams extensions, and I got 9 of them in my set. So that's actually, they're fairly inexpensive for extensions. They're kind of a bargain deal, I guess. So that's obviously a positive. I've owned them for 7 months, and I have to say they've held up very well. So for example, this is an example of one of my extensions, and it's still really nice and silky, and it's hardly shed at all. So that's another thing that's very good about these extensions. I've had no shedding or very little shedding with them. I know that that's one thing that people do look for in extensions, and sometimes it's a complaint of some extension companies. In this case, my set has hardly had any shedding, and I washed them about 7 times. So I think that's pretty good for an economical extension. They are real hair. They claim to be 100% Remy hair. I ended up purchasing the Dirty Blonde color, and there's various colors in here to match my hair. That's another thing I like about them. The color match is really good. I have kind of medium blonde hair, and it matches very well. I'd say if you're anywhere between a medium blonde to a dirty blonde, the dirty blonde extensions, Luxy hair extensions, would match them quite well. My hair's slightly lighter, but you really can't tell once they're incorporated into my hair. Another nice thing about these extensions is their clip. They have very nice clips with silicone backings. I don't have any kind of slippage at all. I don't have to really tease my hair or even put anything in my hair. They just kind of hold my hair, and I have very, very fine, thin, baby fine hair. And that was a concern of mine when I did my research on extensions. And the clips have held up really nicely. I wear my extensions about 4 or 5 days a week, and it's now been 7 months, and they've really held up very nicely. Another nice thing about them, when I first got them, they were very silky, and they had a nice curl to the bottom. I went ahead and I had them trimmed because they were really long. And I've been able to maintain the silkiness with a couple tips and tricks that I'll kind of talk about in a little bit to get them kind of to where they were when I first got them. They also came in a nice box that was kind of nice. I don't really use the box, but it's nice if I want to travel around with them, I can put them in the box. Now, the only 2 things that are maybe negatives in terms of these extensions, and I do want to say this is my first set of extensions, so perhaps this happens with all extensions. For one, there are different colors in the hair, which I understand. In order to match, hair, you need a multitude of colors. But I'm blonde, and in my extensions, there were a few black hairs. I'm a natural blonde. I don't have black hair in my hair. They might not have as much control over exactly what colors go in here, but I was a little surprised that jet black hair was in there. Overall, though, the color's nice. The other thing too that was in here, and it could just be the way they're created when they sew them in at the top, there were some little things of fluff, not very many, but a few that after brushing and washing I was able to get them out, but there were some weird little fluff things in there too. The only other downside that I found is when I washed them for the very first time, I thought I had ruined them. They became really frizzy and very wavy. They were like a totally different kind of hair, and I was surprised. But after doing some research, I was able to figure out how to get them back to being more silky, and really it's just a matter of over conditioning them, using a shine serum, and making sure that they are completely flat when they're air drying. And then if they're still a little wavy, I put a little bit more shine serum in it, and then I can either flat iron them after putting heat protectant spray or curl them with a curling iron. and that seems to get all the little weird waves out of the extension. Something I've also learned, and especially the first time I washed them, even though they became frizzy and wavy, the one thing I did like about it was that they did kind of puff out a little bit. They became slightly thicker in some way, which I think is actually good. So you can kind of take that as it is. If you know how to keep them nice and shiny and you know what products to use, you can get them back to the way they were, and really not have to worry about it. So again, I'm very happy with my Luxy hair extensions. They were very affordable. They've been holding up really nicely. I know there are a lot of reviews out there about other kinds of extensions and about Luxy, but I think that because I've had them now for so long, and I know I like to do research on something I purchase before purchasing it, I hope you take my review with other reviews and kind of make the decision for yourself. So I'm just hoping that this is a helpful review so that if you're debating whether to get Luxy extensions versus some other extensions, this will help you. At least you know a couple of the drawbacks with the washing, the frizz, and possibly the color. But the benefits are there's very little shedding, the clips are really nice, and the quality is held up quite nicely too. And I do wear them a lot. It's not like I wore them once and put them in a box. I wear them 4 or 5 days a week, and still as you can see, the quality's held up. It matches my hair color, and I think for the most part it's natural. People don't even realize I'm wearing extensions for them unless I point it out, and they're like, oh really? I didn't know. So I hope this review is helpful in making you, or in helping you decide which extension to purchase, and if you're thinking of Luxy, my experience so far has been pretty good.